Jim, something that happened in the world of pop culture that has been a major news story the last couple of days is something that either surprisingly or not surprisingly, seemingly dozens, if not hundreds of listeners have sent the clip to myself, to you, to the Drive-Thru email from the Academy Awards. Will Smith getting up and slapping Chris Rock, the comedian, after he made a joke about Will's wife's hair.
Well, there's two schools of thought, at least to me, on the surface of it. People think, obviously, it was either a shoot or a work. It was either a poorly done work or a shoot that fell flat. It wasn't good in any respect, but we'll analyze it, I guess, since we got nothing better to do. And the wrestling fans were, all over this because everybody else immediately just took it at face value because that's, you would normally think that's what you do on the Oscar show, right? The bits are clearly bits and the real is clearly real to most average civilians on the Oscar shows or awards or whatever. But in this case, what the fuck's going on? Did somebody go into business for themselves? That's what the whole world is thinking, but the wrestling fans are going, oh, wait a minute. Because there's physicality.
Well, the wrestling fans are one thing. I think the wrestlers are another thing. They're the first ones. Usually the wrestlers are the first ones to call something a work.
Well, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of wrestlers that think that things are works that aren't works, but I don't honestly know because, as I said, it was poorly done either way. But here's the thing. If you analyze this, he makes the joke. They get a shot of Will Smith. Will Smith is kind of laughing. You don't see the instant, oh, you've gone too far on his face. Then they cut back to Chris Rock, and then here comes Will Smith walking towards him. And then there's the pow, only he didn't get a good smack. It was more of a clump. I think he might have got some of his suit or his shoulder muffled the blow, but he hit him. And then he turns around and walks back. And there is a photo out there that people have captured, and they're making memes out of it. At one point, it was me and Santino and somebody else, whatever, the slap. But if it was a shoot, it was just so happened that Chris Rock put his hands down, leaned forward, had some eye contact going on, and was braced for impact. And if you watch, Will Smith didn't slap somebody like you would slap them when you hear the thing that goes too far. Who was it years ago in the locker room? Now you've gone too far. And you just snap and slap the motherfucker. He drew back. It was a flat hand, and he got him on the good part. Didn't get him in the ear. Chris Rock would have sold it a lot more. And he turned around and went back and sat down. So Chris Rock prepped for somebody to slap him, whether he knew he was going to get slapped or not. It was a good prep. He was in the right place. There was when somebody swings at you, there's generally a little bit of if it's not planned and it's surprising you, there's a little bit of a pullback, which we didn't get there. But then the lead up to it didn't seem like that they were working because there was no instant look on Will Smith like, you motherfucker. But then he got up and did it. And then Chris Rock, if it had been a work, wouldn't you think that Chris Rock would have had a better comeback? If you knew something like that and you had planned it or you knew it was going to happen. So
the comeback would have given him a chance to save some face.
Right.
There was nothing.
There was nothing. He just stood there like if he just got his taste slapped out of his mouth. He's like, well, this is the greatest night in the history of television. And then when Chris Rock sits back down, he yells, When Will Smith sits back down.
I'm sorry,
when Will Smith sits back down. He says, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. But either Chris Rock could not have heard that, and he's like, what? Or Will Smith could have noticed that most people didn't hear it because the camera wasn't on him and he didn't say it, and there was still some rumbling, so he said it again louder, and this time it got picked up. But why and for what purpose would Will Smith or Chris Rock engage in this as a publicity stunt to get people talking about him when it's Will Smith and Chris Rock? People are already talking about them. This is not necessarily Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman on the Letterman show when, I'll be the first to admit, biggest Lawler fan in the world. Not everybody in the United States was talking about Jerry Lawler, even after the Andy Kaufman match, on the level of Will Smith, and nor was Kaufman on the level of Will. So the point is, what would this have served by them doing this for Will Smith to scream, a noted movie actor and Hollywood superstar, to scream fuck on network television at the Oscars? What's the upside? So while the actual physicality of the slap looked like the two guys that were working a slap, the lead up and the payoff and the afterbirth was caca and didn't do anything for anybody. And what would there have been to be done for anybody with shooting this angle if it was indeed an angle? What'd you think?
I think it was one person doing their own angle. I think if I was Chris Rock, you know what my comeback would have been? That's good, Will. You almost convinced everyone you're straight now.
No!
Because seriously, I mean, all of a sudden they show him there. He's sitting there. He's laughing at it. She was upset. And the story now goes that Chris Rock was unaware that she had some sort of condition which causes hair loss. So he made a joke about a bald woman who, by the way, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Okay, keep your wife off my fucking movie screen and out of my direct frame of view if I'm a comedian hosting the Academy Awards.
Or just if you happen to be Cody Rhodes. Keep your wife off my screen.
The whole thing's ridiculous. Will Smith gets up there, hits him, sits back down. I will congratulate Will Smith and thank him. He has now set a precedent that if you're sitting in the crowd and someone on stage says something you don't like, just punch him in the mouth, sit right back down. You may even get an award later in the evening.
Yeah, later on you'll be able to give a speech about it.
I think that for some reason, Will Smith went from smiling and laughing. He saw his wife's face and he thought, now's the time I got to get up and do something. But he wasn't going to do that if it was The Rock. He wasn't going to do that if it was any other big actor.
The Rock, not Chris Rock.
Yeah, if it was someone who's worked out. No disrespect to Chris Rock. Chris Rock's a fucking comedian. And by the way, that's his job. You don't know Chris Rock's going to make jokes about the celebrities in front of him? It's his job. It's what he's done better than almost anyone for the last 25 years. So he gets up there, he hits a comedian, and he sits back down. I'm sorry, Will Smith is the biggest fucking pussy of all time.
But now, there's another element to this also. Did I hear that there had been a previous comment by Chris Rock and Will Smith had taken offense to that? Or
I believe, and I may be misquoting it somewhat, but I believe I have the general theme of it. A few years back, when there was a boycott of the Oscars because there weren't enough black actors and actresses and filmmakers being represented in the nominees and the award winners, she said she was going to be boycotting, and I believe Chris Rock said something along the line of, well, no one really invited you anyway. You're boycotting something, you're never going to win an award. Like, what are you boycotting? You're boycotting standing on the red carpet and getting some pictures. So I believe that's it.
That doesn't sound severely inflammatory, but now I'm just thinking, what if Will Smith had called Chris Rock at that point and say, you know what? Don't make any more jokes about my wife or elsewise I'm going to have to slap you next time I see you.
This was Will Smith's Tom Cruise on the couch moment. I'm serious. That's the way I see this. All of a sudden, this guy who's been a big star, has always tried to act normal. All of a sudden, he does something completely foreign from everything he's ever done. And it was intentional. I mean, he knew it was on live. He knew if he starts yelling fucking on the show that it would get somewhere, even if they bleeped it, it got on the Japanese feed. He knew that you can't just get up and hit someone, but he did it. He did. This was intentional on his part, I think, more than... I don't think Chris Rock was playing into it.
Here's where I was going with that. Yeah, he did look a bit stunned, but what I'm saying is that, do you think if Will Smith had called Chris Rock and said, hey, next time you do that, I'm going to have to smack you, and Chris Rock looked down there and did it right on stage and gave that big grin at Will Smith, like, what are you going to do now? And Will Smith's like, well, motherfucker, he's fucking backed me into the corner. I got to do it now.
I hope that story comes out. That would be tremendous.
That would actually be the best thing. That would be great. Well, now, motherfucker, I told you, you're trying me.
See, that's the thing.
Too far.
If it was just he made a joke and he got up there and did it, that's one thing. If there was a warning, then it's a great story. I told him, if you ever say anything about me or my family again, I'm going to hit you. He did it on national TV.
Wherever we are, I don't care. I will stop what I'm doing, and I'm going to smack you senseless. I'm going to smack you so hard your kids will be born dizzy. And then Chris Rock is, well, I'll show you. And he thought he was safe. That would be a great story. I
don't think Chris Rock was working in any way. He was so rattled, you could tell he was not working. I've never seen Chris Rock that rattled on stage ever.
But I wonder if Will got any that night
from Jada or from someone else.
Well, from Jada for standing up for her honor and justice and things like that. Somebody said, wonder if the police were called, which the police were called, but Chris Rock didn't want to file charges. But they said they could have taken some fresh prints off of Chris Rock's face.
That's bad.
That's bad. And then no wonder they sent him to live with his fucking uncle, whatever the fuck, right? Little delinquent.
Did you see they did a remake of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and now it's like just Fresh Prince, and it's not a comedy in any way. Now it's a serious drama.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for this.
I didn't watch the show, but I saw the advertising. What they were. Yeah, that's a show right there that's always screamed out for being an hour-long drama. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.